Good morning. Welcome to Ethos. Come on up. Come on up. We're about to start here. It's been a long week for a lot of us, but we're all here today, and it's good to be here. As usual, we have some wonderful music. Chanel is going to be singing for us, accompanied by Rob, who I think, is this your first time here, Rob? All right, well, welcome. Thank you for playing and providing some music for us. Tony is going to be speaking again, continuing on with his Lamblike protest series based on the book of Revelation. It's been interesting and eye-opening, as always, and definitely appreciated, Tony, so thank you. Let me see, what else? We here at Ethos, we are a values-driven community. Everybody here, everybody who watches, anybody who attends has a place at the table here. And so you're always welcome. You're always welcome to share different views, different insights, and even though it may be different from others, it's something that we appreciate and actually that we count on, and we want to be challenged here. We want to be always learning and always, essentially always in motion in a sense. So welcome. Anyways, Chanel, Rob, if you could come up and start, really appreciate it.
You're like starlight in the dark, and these miles can't conceal you, and every glimmer is a spark catching fire as you break through. And oh, you're not far away, you're coming close. And oh, even as I wait, you're coming close. You're like summer in the night. The sun goes down, but still I feel you. And every shadow's turning bright, and every broken heart is made new. And oh, you're not far away, you're coming close. And oh, even as I wait, you're coming close. Ooh, 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 ooh. not far away, you're coming close. And oh, even as I wait, you're coming close. You're like starlight in the dark, and the miles can't conceal you. And every glimmer is a spark, catching fire as you break through. All right, this next song that we're gonna do has the theme of making things new. And as we're here learning together, just invite you into a space where you can open yourself up to change and to growth. And if you know this song, please sing with us. All this pain, I wonder if I'll ever find my way. I wonder if my life could really change at all. All this earth, could all that is lost ever be found? Could a garden come up from this ground at all? You make beautiful things, you make beautiful things out of the dust. Oh, you make beautiful things, you make beautiful things out of us. All around, hope is springing up from this old ground. Out of chaos, life is being found in you. You make beautiful things, you make beautiful things out of dust. Oh, you make beautiful things, you make beautiful things out of us. Oh, you make beautiful things, you make beautiful things out of us.
So much texture. How you guys doing? Everybody awake? For the most part? All right. Rob, nice to meet you. Sounded good. Cool. We're all like, we're checking you out. Like, who is this guy? Who's this guy? We love Chanel. We love her. She's pretty special to us. I'm going to make this so embarrassing for you. This is like a living room today, so we're just going to relax and enjoy it. Everyone have a good week? Anyone stressed out of your mind? Any of those people right now? Like, yeah, if you're a teacher, you're stressed out of your mind for sure. But a student, yeah. Oh my goodness, yes. We forget about the students. When you're giving the test, that's one thing, but then the students, they've got 8 other different tests all at once. Yeah. We're gonna start, and again, a lot of people are watching online as well. But I want to remind us this thing we do. It's kind of special. It's kind of different. None of us come here with the right answer. How does that land for you? No one here has the right answer. What do you think of that? Okay, yeah. I have the right answer. I have the only answer. I have the final say. Anytime you hear someone say that, look out, right? And that's the beauty of what we're doing here is we usually come together and we say, here's an answer. Here's something that's working. Will it work for me 5 years from now? Well, I don't know. 10 years from now, will I be the same person I was? Probably not, hopefully not, right? The answers that we have now may not serve us 10 years from now, but some of us, it's working now. And so we share whatever knowledge, whatever wisdom we have, and it's kind of fun that way. We kind of enjoy it. So again, we're going through this book, and I purposely did this. I was beat over the head with this book and actually kind of grew to fear God, look at God and the end of the world as like this thing that was definitely going to happen, and I was going to be in a lot of trouble. Every time I heard thunderstorms, I was like, this is the end. It's going down. I almost got to the place where, because of certain interpretations of this book, I wanted very little to do with the whole book in general, the Bible. And so what I'm choosing to do is, rather than just ignore the thing, the healthy thing to do is to move through it. To say, what kind of beauty can we glean from it, if any? And this is driving me crazy. So we're going to move through it. We're not going to just ignore it. We're going to move through it and say, what does this book actually say to the people during that time? What can it say to us now? Cool? Any questions so far over this book as we've been moving through it? Anything that just been like, I wonder as we've moved through it. I wonder about this or that. Anybody? No. Like I'm an expert. I got it. Okay, well, cool. Well, let me move through a little bit then. This is, again, a book of protest. It's one that even the forefathers of Christianity said, we're not even sure this should be in the canon. We don't even understand it. It takes a revelation to understand this revelation. It's been a confusing book for many, but the truth is this book was a voice of protest. We see a system that's not working. How do we protest against it? That was the point of the book. And so again, in our culture, there's certain things that we don't have to participate in. It's like a diet. Some of you are choosing not to eat certain things. In our culture, what are certain things that you don't have to choose to eat that may not be the best for you? What culturally is going on right now that you're like, I don't need that on my plate? Okay, yeah. All right, so good. Let's go beyond food now. Like in our culture, what are things we don't have to have on the plate, metaphorically? What do I not need to participate in or consume that may not be the best for me or for you? Okay, nationalism, politics, like, yeah. Okay, got it. Yeah, there's some things going on right now that are just like, oh, is that seriously happening? Yeah, good. Anyone else? Things you just say, I'm not going to put that on my plate. What was that? TV. Okay. Yeah, violence, right? I wanted to go see the last Avengers movie with my kids. But guess what? It's like sold out for like a week, I feel like. I kept looking over and over again because our culture is like consuming that. We can't get enough of it, which is interesting. And I like openly admit, yeah, that's yeah. Anyone else? Gossip, thank you. Yeah, you can feed gossip, can't you? Whenever you hear it, you can just keep feeding it, and it grows and grows and grows, gets bigger and bigger, and uglier and more destructive. Good. So these are all things that we can protest. We don't have to eat. We don't have to have it a part of our diet. And so each one of these churches, we talked about how each one of these has a different message. The first one, learn to embody it, right? Find your joy. Did anyone see Pam the other day at our picnic skateboarding? How funny is that? Like, she just so cute. Yeah, just cruising down the road on her skateboard. Yeah, but she told me after we talked about Ephesus, she said, I used to love to skateboard. I'm going to start doing it. And I thought, okay, Pam, like whatever. And now she skateboards like everywhere. Because she said when she was a child, that was like her joy, skateboarding, which is just so funny. So we hope she like wears some kind of like head protection or whatever. Smyrna, we talked about it's so important to have community. When you have certain ideas, certain ideals, ideologies, beliefs, whatever you want to call them, finding your group, finding your people, whether small, big, whatever it is, finding your people, finding your group is so important. And you begin to be able to share stuff with them, find connection, support. Community is really important. We were never built to be an island, right? The other one was discern truth. We talked about this for a while, which I love. How do you know if something's true or false? So we had this long conversation about like, is this true? Is this false? How do you decide? How did they decide? We've had some interesting conversations about Thyatira, Pergamum, and again, understanding if a movement is going to bring life or not is so important. And then the one we're going to talk about today is how to embody it, how to become the thing that you're protesting, the movement that is so important to you. How do you learn to live that thing out? How do you learn to embody it? And that's where this concept of Sardis comes in. I want to start with this. I have a friend. Many of you know that I like to I do podcasting and like social media stuff. Not as much with the social media, but a lot of podcasting still. This might surprise some of you. Some people don't always love what I say in my podcasts. Like some people get offended by it. That might surprise you again. But it's actually a he, but the best picture I could find was of a she. But he was talking to me the other day, and he said he's exhausted. He does a lot of social, political stuff. And he says he's just so exhausted. He makes his money by making people like a little bit upset, hitting the red button, and then like pulling away and watching it. You guys ever know those people? Some of you are those people. He loves to do it. He'll pull back, and then he'll put out his own media posts, which people will go to. He'll make money that way. But he said lately he's just been so tired because he's putting so much energy out there. But the problem is you have to keep the fire burning. Keep the fire burning, you have to start conflict. When you're in all of that conflict, you are just pouring out energy. You're not pulling it back in unless you're being very intentional. And so he said he's just tired, exhausted. He said, I'm feeling dead. And I thought, I get that. Like, that makes sense to me. Sardis is a place like that. So I want to start by just asking the question right here. Turn to someone next to you. What conflicts are you dealing with? You don't have to tell the whole group. That's the beauty of this. Just turn to someone next to you. What conflicts are you presently dealing with right now that are just kind of exhausting for you? Like you just feel like, every time you think about it, it just kind of pulls up this stuff, and you just almost feel tired just thinking about it. So just take like a minute and a half, turn to the person next to you, answer that question. Go for it. Anybody? Relieving, yeah. How many of you who are like with the person or have been talking to the person next to you throughout the week, how many of you thought, I didn't realize that. I didn't know it was that heavy. Okay. Got it. So you communicate pretty well. All right. Nice. Well, good. Some things I'm finding have the potential to exhaust us. They can just like pull at our soul, suck out all energy, all life, and just like, ugh. It's just rough. And so there are certain things that exhaust us. And here's what I want to do. This city of Sardis, again, it's not just a city. There's always something bigger going on here. So there's this city in this book of Revelation, and it's called Sardis. And I wanted to share with you a little bit about Sardis, because again, I love history. Sardis was this Roman city that basically was once really great, and it just died. There was not much left. And so one of the things one historian says about this city is this. He says, no city in Asia Minor at that time had such a melancholy contrast between past splendor and present decay. This was literally a place that used to be awesome and now just dead. It's Detroit, right? So sad when you look at this city that used to be so great. And I talk about Detroit because I used to live right by there. Used to be we'd go to Piston games and Detroit Red Wings games, and it was so much fun. And then now you can barely go down there anymore without worrying that your car is going to get jacked or you're going to get jacked, whatever. It's terrifying. And then you see all the poverty, people going without water. Like, it's just a sad place now. Used to be it was a place it was a manufacturing empire. And now there's just nothing. So sad. And this is what Sardis was. It was the center for wool, the dyeing industry for a really long time. But here's the interesting thing about Sardis. The god that they worshipped, the main one was Artemis. And Artemis was this god that restores life again. So anyone see the irony there? We live in a city with all of these statues of Artemis, the god that restores, and we are dying. Anyone see like the irony of what John's attempting to do here by using Sardis? Yeah, you used to be great, and now you're dying, but you have all these symbols all over saying that you're alive. Interesting, right? The city was built on a hill, again, for everyone to see. Really hard for other empires to come and take that city. But the other thing is, it's a bit embarrassing when you were that city, and now everyone sees it's just dead. Anyone connecting with the city yet? Anyone feel like, I used to be this way, and now, Anyone ever get that feeling? Ever have that little voice telling you that? I used to be so alive, now I'm feeling this way. That was Sardis. And the community there reflects the city they're in. And so again, John's talking about the city because he's talking about a people who have this beautiful movement, this Jesus message about new life abundantly, but they're not living it, and they've slowly died. And so Sardis is really worn down. I want to talk about my wife for a minute. This picture, I just thought was so funny because my wife, look at her, like amazing. She's great shape, just had a baby 6 months ago. She is homeschooling our kids right now. Amazing. She's doing that. She is the owner of a business, and she's doing pretty well with that. She jogs, and she's also got these different protest movements she's involved in. Yeah. Like anyone in awe of her as well? Like I say that because you should be. You should be like, wow. Yeah. So that's Danielle. But just this week, I saw something really sad happen with one of the movements she's a part of. A vote in Sacramento didn't quite go the way that her and her group was hoping for. And I know that was really sad and almost like devastating for a lot of the people involved with what she does. And one of the group leaders, he said this after the vote kind of went the other way. He said this. And I found it really interesting because, again, a group of people who have just lost, basically, who have just been pushed down, said, your vote doesn't matter, your voice doesn't matter. This is one of the leaders. I found this just the other morning. He said this is not the end of this protest. We will hold to our rights as humans to choose what's best for our bodies. Though this may seem like a loss, it is not. Let us allow this loss to fuel us all the more until the next vote we face higher up the ladder is utterly demolished, voted down, and removed. And when it is, when this human rights violation is removed, the victory will be all the sweeter. Now, whether you agree or disagree with that specific movement, what do you notice about the language that's being used there? To a group of people who just feel like, man, we lost that part. What do you notice about the verbiage? Does it say sweater? Did I screw that up? Sweeter. Yeah, it should say sweeter. Maybe they weren't sweaters. Perseverance. Hope. Okay. Ambition. Right. What is that? Guidance. Okay, good. Yeah. And it reminded me of another writer who I hope I quoted him correctly. You might have heard of this guy, Martin Luther King Jr. His movement had so many hang-ups, so many moments where it's looking like it's, and then poof. Over and over again, his group faced moments of stagnation. So the civil rights movements had so many of these snags, so many hang-ups, and yet they persevered. And one of my favorite quotes by Martin Luther King Jr. is this: "The greatness of a man cannot be seen in the hours of comfort and convenience, rather in moments of conflict and adversity." Let me change this for you just a little bit. The greatest moments for you cannot be seen in the hours of comfort and convenience, but rather in the moments of conflict and adversity. How does that land for you? What comes out for you in the middle of conflict and adversity? Growth, nice. Strength, nice. What was that? Humility, beautiful. You put so much energy into that relationship, into that idea, into that whatever it is. You put so much energy, so much time, so much, all of it into that thing, and it looks like it's not going to happen. What part of you comes out first? Just think about it. What part of you comes out first? Doubt? Your soul comes out, okay. What's my soul made of? Yeah, because I think that's a really interesting thermometer for us to see, like, where am I with this? What's coming out in the middle of conflict and adversity? If it is negative stuff, that should be an interesting indicator of areas of growth, right? If it's, all right, let's check it again. Let's see, is this thing worth doing? Let's start asking questions. Is this relationship worth investing in? Is this job worth staying in? What are is this idea something that really is good, or was it just something I had in the middle of the night? Maybe it was gas. I don't know. Like, is it worth doing, right? Questions are going to help move the thing. But what comes out first for you? I want to move into Revelation, because Sardis is a group of people who have this concept, this new idea of how to live life fully. It's a group of people who were Jewish, but they were essentially following the teachings of Jesus, which was this kind of old but new idea that we are the temples now. We're the walking, living, breathing temples. We can live that thing we've been hoping for right here, right now. We can live it inside right here, right now. And we can do it through nonviolence. We can do it through loving our neighbors. That means even the people who aren't in our little group. And so we can do this in a very different way. And so this movement, it seemed to be dying for Sardis. It didn't seem like it was going to hold on. And so the message John gives to this group, anyone feeling this way, is this: to the angel of the church in Sardis, write, these are the words of him who has the sevenfold Spirit. Now, again, like any of you who like have meditative practices or devotionals or whatever it is in the morning, if you read that, like, oh, the sevenfold Spirit, would you get up and be like, I'm going to own this day now? Anybody? Like, yes. Why would that not strike you as something like really powerful right now? Why would this not be your like moment of reflection and be like, yes? Okay, good, thank you. It probably doesn't mean much to you, does it? Because it was written to a group of people well over 2,000 years ago, right? Yeah. What did that mean? Here's what it meant. Interestingly enough, the word sevenfold means fullness. Spirit, breath, pneuma. So full breath again. Anyone having trouble sometimes even just breathing, the simple act of breathing? Your breath is so just, you're just freaking out all day long. You can't catch your breath, right? This is the wisdom piece that John's going to give to Sardis. This message, the wisdom I'm going to give you, is going to help you finally catch your breath again. Anyone like that? It's a good promise to start with. I'm going to help you catch your breath again. You're going to actually breathe again. You're going to be reminded you're not a machine again. And then I know your deeds. You have the reputation of being alive, but you're dead. You have the reputation of being alive, but you're dead. Anyone ever find it really easy to talk about something, but then a little more difficult to actually live it out? Anyone but me? Yeah. Oh my goodness, yeah. We are so good at giving advice, aren't we? I'm so good at giving relational advice, human advice on careers and all of that. And then like when it comes to my own, I'm like, dang, I wish I could just take my own advice, right? Yeah, it's so easy. Yeah, I don't have all the extra baggage that's associated with it. But if I could take my own advice, if I could live the thing I'm talking about, what do you think? What would your life look like if you could live your own advice? Okay, I might have to put work into it. Yeah. I might have to be honest with myself. That's a little bit scary sometimes too. Yeah, don't show me, don't tell me, right? This week, I had someone, they sent me this, we just kind of went back and forth a bit, and I found myself getting frustrated with the conversation. And I had to stop and just be like, what am I doing? I keep telling people every week, you should stop and breathe and remember you're human and that they're human. And all this advice started swimming back to me, and I thought, screw it. Right? But then no, don't screw it. You have to look at it, live it, try to live this thing out. That's where the life is. And so over and over again, I'm checking myself as I'm going into conflict or disagreements or frustrations, failures, all of it. I'm learning to okay, what am I supposed to be living out, and am I living it out or not? Are they just words, or are they practices? If they're not practices, then it was just an interesting service that week, wasn't it? How many of you, right now, are you thinking about the themes of Easter still? Be honest. That weekend, Easter was so fabulous. The sunrise service, the this. Oh, no, most of you aren't, because it was just a weekend, which I would argue most of the time that's what a service is. It's like a nice thing that but then it's not practiced. If the thing is experienced, but then practiced, that's where the life is. And that's what the writer John is saying. You've gotten really good at consuming it. You've read all the books. You know all the 8-step process. You know your personality trait. You know who you are. Blah 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 blah. You know, but you're not living it. And I, just like you, struggle living it. And here's the thing, though. He continues. He says, "Wake up." Wake up. Become aware of this thing that's happening. Wake up. and strengthen what little remains. Ugh. Doesn't that suck to hear right now? Wake up. Whatever remains, you got to find a way to strengthen it. Like that's a slap in the face, right? When I saw this meme, I was just dying. I thought, yeah, that's me. And some of my favorite people in my life, they're the ones that will show up and say, dude, wake up. Wake up. What are you doing? They're the honest ones, right? How many of you have an honest friend that's willing to slap you in the face? Not literally, but just, come on. Anybody? Some of you are like, I have a literal, but I don't know. Why do you listen to that person's advice and not others? You respect them? Okay. What else? Okay. They listen to yours. Good. And they hear your story. You share you share theirs. They're wise. Nice. Yeah, a slap in the face is only going to be good unless if you trust the person, right? A slap in the face works when the person cares about you. The person doesn't care about you. They don't really have any wisdom, any knowledge. They haven't been through any of this. The slap in the face is just kind of mean. Be aware that there are good and there are bad ways to be slapped in the face. But we all, from time to time, need a wake-up call. I think that's so funny. We're going to show it again at some point today. He continues. He says this, go back to what you heard and believed at first. Hold to it firmly. So the idea, the relationship, the thing, the movement, whatever the thing was, go back to it. Is it worth holding on to firmly? Is it worth it? For them, it was the Jesus message is what's going to bring life. You've kind of let that go. Go back to it. See how it did bring life. And then hold on to it with all your life. Hold on to it. Don't let it go this time. Live that thing out fully. Repent and turn to me again. This word repent is not like, oh, woe is me. I'm evil. I'm bad. Please forgive me. The word repent simply means this. Turn around. Right? Turn around. It is the concept of sin and repentance is the archer. The archer, you're aiming, you're shooting the arrow, and you missed. Notice something. I'm shooting the arrow. I'm doing my best. I'm trying. I'm shooting the arrow. I missed. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to switch it up. I'm going to say, what did I do wrong? I'm going to learn from it, and I'm going to shoot again. What's going to happen next time? You'll probably miss. You might miss again. And hopefully, if you're Sardis, you will pick up another quiver, right? You'll pick it up, you'll do your best, and you'll keep attempting to try. But the important thing he says here is ask why you're even trying in the first place, right? What's the target? What's the target? Why am I aiming there? Go back to it. Understand why that's the target, why it's a good target. Shoot again. Let's try again. Let's not give up. If you don't wake up, if you don't reevaluate, if you don't stop, I will come to you suddenly as unexpected as a thief in the night. Yeah. How's that land for you? Read that this morning for my meditation. It's beautiful. No one said no one, right? Again, this is metaphor. This is not literal. This is all metaphor. If you don't do this thing, it's gone. It'll slip away. Anyone ever have those moments? You don't have to answer because that's a pretty deeply personal question. You just gave up. You didn't even try. It just slips away. It's gone. Yeah, interesting. It's like a thief in the night. It's gone. I like that it continues, though. Yet there's some in this church, this community in Sardis, who haven't soiled their clothes in evil. Again, keep in mind they're consuming stuff that's essentially ruining their opportunity to live out the Jesus message. You can't live out the Jesus message if you're doing the very opposite of what Jesus called you to do, right? That's what they were doing, some of them. Some of them hadn't done it, though. They will walk with me in white, for they are worthy. All who are victorious will be clothed in white. If we all came to Ethos today dressed in white robes, our friend Rob would be like, where the hell have you brought me, Chanel? Like, what? Like, talk about cultish. Not only is this thing on Saturday, now, like, they're in all white. They're talking about the book of Revelation. Whoa, like, right? Not to be taken literally, right? This is metaphor, and it's metaphor that meant something to the people during that time period. And this is what it would have meant for that time era. When you were victorious in Rome, when you'd done something worthy, especially in some of the races, the Domitian games, those kind of things, when you ran and you overcame, they would dress you in white. And you were considered an overcomer. You triumphed. And so again, consider all those different things we talked about. When you choose to do that, to reconsider, to turn around, to ask yourself some hard questions, not give up, right? When you do that and you begin moving again, shooting at the target again, you will be an overcomer. You'll be victorious. You will wear the white robe. Not literally, unless that's your thing and you want to do that. It's cool. We won't judge you too much, right? But that's the beauty of what's being said there. And so I found some really interesting tips that I thought would be kind of fun to share. And again, every time I look for these like phases or steps, I'm always looking at various different authors. And so I'm going to share with you some of the ones that I read that I thought, oh, that's so good. I just want to share it. Because here's the beauty. I can share with you and tell you all of that, but if I don't actually give you ways to apply it, what have I done? Well, it's just like a sermon or I don't know. It's not really that helpful for us, is it? But if we can give application steps, ways in which to actually live this out, then Easter becomes something we live every day, right? Life, death, resurrection. These are steps that can help us. So I'm gonna share these, and then I want to hear some of your feedback. Remember why you started and how much you really wanted it. Think about the new job, the creative idea, the relationship. How might that apply for you right now? Remember why you started in the first place. How much you really wanted it. Is that landing for anybody? I'm going to pick on Karen and Tim. You guys are newlyweds still, right? This will never happen to you, but sometimes newlyweds, they'll wake up one morning and they'll be like, what the heck were we thinking? Like sometimes I feel like I hate you. Sometimes, not hate, that's a strong word. I dislike you, right? Sometimes we have to remind ourselves in relationships, here's why I started in the first place. Here's why we did this. Other times you may end a relationship. You may wake up saying, oh, I miss them. And sometimes that's our moment to say, here's why I'm in this place in the first place. Here's why I chose to end this thing, right? Anyone else have a comment or anything on this one? Remember why you started, how much you really wanted it. Any creatives in here start a project? Feel like you want to quit? Never. Nice. Why am I doing it? Perfect. How do you do that, by the way? What's your process?
Decide what to think as often as I can. When I remember that I'm not thinking the way I want to, it's a time of prayer for me. And I meditate while driving, while talking, while working, while writing. And that's important to remember why this is all being done to begin with.
See. Which can help when you're feeling just down. Nice. Yeah, you've got some projects.
And it just builds itself. It's kind of like yeast. It keeps growing.
Beautiful.
I think for me, it's also when I see people that want or need a better product on like what we do with our cookie dough and stuff.
sleep to this day.
But
Yeah.
that's you, because you just have to see other people's and their needs, and your problems are big, or you think they're big, but there are enormous, like, problems for other people.
Right, that's so good. Yeah, why did I start in the first place? Another one that I found, I like this one. Steinbeck, actually, this was a piece of advice from him, one of my favorite authors. Look into the reason why you want to give up. He always said in the middle of writing, he'd have these moments where he's like, I'm just done. I want to write. I don't want to write anymore. And I like this. Look at the reasons why you want to give up. What is it that's causing you to say, I want to give up? Is it your own junk that's in the way? Is it the story you're telling yourself? Is it stuff that other people have said to you? What is the reason? Or maybe there's something legitimate going on, but asking that question, he said, always caused him to say, oh, okay, yeah, I'm going to finish this novel. Picture in your mind the ultimate result. What's the ultimate result here? I can say this for Jesus followers during that time era for Sardis. It was this. We believe this message of Jesus can actually heal the world. Isn't that powerful? I wonder sometimes, do people believe this anymore? Like when you meet a Christian, does that Christian person believe the message of Jesus is literally going to heal the world or not? And that's where, again, I think it's interesting with the book of Revelation. If you think the world's just going to end in a big ball of fire, and that's your hope, man, it seems like the message of Jesus really isn't being taken very seriously, is it? And so, again, picture it in your mind, the ultimate result. I love it. What's the ultimate result? For Jesus, it was the world can be reconciled. The world can be reclaimed. The world can be rebuilt. For you, what's the ultimate relationship look like? The ultimate product, the ultimate picture of your life as a whole person. What does it look like for you? Keep looking at the ultimate result. Make a plan, have a backup. This was Timothy Ferris. Doesn't look like anyone else listens to Timothy Ferris in here. Got it. Okay, that's all right. Make a plan, have a backup. Have your plan, but also have some backups. Have some, if it doesn't fully work, here it is. Some people will tell you never have a backup. That's just a cop-out. That's dumb. That's just not realistic. But always go fully forward, but have the backup. I think that's interesting that he would bring that up. I like this one. Find support from others. Find support from others. Why do you suppose that's so important? Nice. Okay, good. The energy, people back, they got my back.
Endure things alone, and we don't. We're meant to, exist with other people, and they definitely, when I'm weak, the other person can be stronger and pull me out. And so that's why I would finding support in others.
It breaks my heart when I meet people who are just alone in their pain. They're just saying, I don't want to burden you. How many of you have ever heard that from people? I don't want to burden you with this. And what are you thinking when you hear that person say that to you? Like, a slap in the face. I'm your friend. Like, burden me, right? It's not a burden because we're friends. This thing is a relationship, and we're meant to walk together. And you're going to be carrying my burdens pretty soon because something will happen ultimately, right? A relationship. Find support from others. If I am doing something that's creative or whatever, I'm going to find other creatives. I'm going to ask them about their process. When I hit snags, right? I'm asking them. Whatever the thing is, we find support for one another. I'll never forget when Danielle and I, when we had left Garden Grove, it was interesting because we had a bunch of people show up at our house, and they said, "What's next?" Isn't that fun? What's next? I remember thinking, I don't know. And the comments were, "We support you. What's next? It was the question that day, I remember people took me out to lunch. What's next? Thinking, oh yeah, what's next? Let's do this. What's next? We support you. What's next? We need those people with us if we're going to succeed. Be grateful for the good things while struggling. That's super easy to do, right? When the project doesn't go your way, when the relationship isn't working, when certain things keep falling apart, training yourself to say, well, what is working right now? Like, what is good right now?
And he suggests to text or email 5 people a week,
Email 5 people a week.
and then tell them, be grateful for whatever reason they're in your life, and you're grateful for them. So what I did is I text my husband, I text my mom, I text a lot of people and said, hey, thank you for being there for me. Thank you for being there when I was defeated, or I am defeated now, and I feel like my life is really bad. But then when you thank them, you feel it takes away focus, from you, and you're like being grateful for other people being in your life.
I like that. The exercise of, texting people, letting them know how grateful you are, it puts me in a place of things are actually way better than I thought they were. I have a lot to be grateful for. This thing doesn't define me, right? There's actually a lot more going on in my life. That's a great practice. I like that. And imagine, like, if your friends, every time they knew something's going on when you said, Morena, I love you. I just am so thankful for your support. You're like, you're welcome. What's going on? You just know. I love it. That's so good. And then this one, celebrate your victories no matter how small they are. I, again, am terrible at doing this. Learning slowly, but I got, this is so funny to admit, and I never want to be that guy that's like lame about this, but I grew up with the idea that tattoos were evil. They're evil, bad. But I know, you're right. It's the devil, Bobby. Oh. So I remember hearing it's so bad, you should never get one, this and this and this. But in the back of my mind, I always thought, I really like them. I think some of them look so cool, I want one. And it wasn't because I was like being rebellious, to be completely honest with you. I just really liked them. But then I got caught up in well, what does it mean? Like, I don't know. I remember like trying to create stuff. Well, if I did this phrase, and then I realized like 10 years from now, I won't think that phrase is very interesting. I won't want, I don't know, NSYNC's lyric on my arm for the rest of my life. I'm probably going to outgrow it. And so I remember like, what do I do? Finally, I just did it. And I remember thinking like, oh no, what are my parents going to think? And then I got to the place where I realized that's a big step for me. Like that's really, and I started texting some of my friends. I said, hey, I just did this. You did what? How does it feel? I remember Lewis is like, dude, and he's like trying to FaceTime me while I'm having having it done. But it felt good to have that support and that love, and I could celebrate like the mini victory of Tony allowing Tony to be Tony, and just stepping out of that fear and all of that. Just a nice celebration. It was nice. Learning to celebrate when those victories happen is so important. You feel supported, loved, connected. Last one, I believe. Have your motivation everywhere to keep you going. I've begun to do this. Do any of you have this practice happening in your life right now? You put something on the mirror. You have little quote boards. You have your vision board. You have something that you visually see every day. Okay, you use the rock still. Perfect. Anyone else? What? Nice. Remember to work on vision board. Nice. Oh, I like that. Daily steps, daily reminders, daily things you'll look at. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like sometimes I wish I had a friend that would call and just wake me up in the morning with like what are you doing with your life? Are you motivated? Like, no, here's motivation. Yeah, I don't know, like something, I need that in my life. When we do these steps, when we turn, when we do these things, when life feels like, oh, I've just lost all momentum, I just can't keep going on, I'm so frustrated, I'm this, and the other. When we turn and we begin doing some of these steps, when we begin living this message, we begin to reclaim some of those things again, the writer says this: I will never erase their names from the book of life. Let me just make a comment on that one first. Metaphor. The divine is not up there with a book in hand. I'm going to blow some of you away. Not writing down who's naughty or nice. That's Santa Claus. Okay, so like, those two are different. Yeah, so you're like, what? Yeah, no book, literal book being written down of all the good and bad things you're doing, whether you're in it or not. This is metaphor. And the metaphor is really interesting because in that Roman era, you would get the white robe. But here's something else that would happen. If you did something great, in the middle of the city, they would have this statue set up, and your name would be written on this monument. And here's the thing about that. That doesn't come off very easily, does it? Yeah, no one's going to be like, like it's on stone. Your name's on stone. You are victorious. And here's the interesting thing about this. Have you ever walked around a graveyard and looked at some of the graves and thought, that one's interesting? That dude was loaded. What's his story? Look at what that person said about that person. Loving husband and inventor. Like, inventor of what? Aviator, this, and the other. You're like, oh, what's their story? And this is what people would do when they came across the name. It's not just a name. Morena is not just a name. Anna's not just a name. Ty is not just a name. When you hear the name, when you read the name, you tell the story. Anybody? So here's the beauty. You are in the middle of writing your own story. You're in the middle of writing this amazing, beautiful, epic story. It's the story of you. And when we choose to do what this writer says to a group of people, broken, hurting, wondering where are we going next? I feel so dead inside. The message is when we learn to do these steps, we actually become the story. What happens to a story about Grandpa 4 decades later? That fish that he caught, what does it become? It's a whale. Yeah. The story gets bigger and bigger and bigger, right? When you are able to live your story, embody those things, those values, what's beautiful is you essentially pass down something bigger than yourself. You embody the thing that you protested, the thing that you lived, the thing that you talked about, the movement that you followed. You learn to embody it. Can I tell you one short story about my grandpa? My grandpa Wuerfel, he was so strong. He was, in World War II, he was a German, and he did not want to fight in the war. And yet what they were doing is they were taking these men and putting them on the field anyways, handing them a gun and saying, shoot or be shot. So my grandpa, what he would do is when things got crazy, he'd lay on the ground and he'd try to take care of anyone that was wounded. My grandpa never fired a shot because he just didn't believe in it. But my grandpa has all these crazy, amazing stories. My grandpa was a really hard worker and fought for everything he had. So when he became a prisoner of war and he and his family were brought over to America, they had nothing. And they lived in this really tiny little house in the middle of Wisconsin. Nothing. Slowly, he built a little bit of equity, and they moved to the beautiful state of Michigan. And there in Michigan, he became a construction worker, and he worked with bricks. And they built these huge buildings. And my grandfather was the very best in the area. They knew Henry Wuerfel. He did a really good job. Always put in the extra effort, was the last guy there. And my grandfather, they bought this really tiny piece of land, and they had this little shack. And what my grandfather did is this. He went to the guy in charge, the supervisor, the foreman. Thank you. Let's see how much construction I'm doing. He went to the foreman and he said, "We have a lot of bricks, and I'm noticing we're just tossing them. Is there any way I could buy those bricks at a discount? I'm building my house." And my grandpa, keep in mind, he would be at work from 5 a.m. till about 6 p.m. So the foreman said, "No problem, Henry. We'll just give them to you." And so every week he'd get these big shipments of bricks dropped off at his house. And my grandfather, what he would do is, after he got home and he had a quick bite to eat, he would then work from 6 until 11 to 12 at night. And what he was doing, he was building around the shack a house. And that house he would someday pass on to his son, Harold, who would have some kids named Tony and Anna. And they would live in that house. When that house was built, Henry realized we don't have a basement. And so what my grandpa did is late at night, he dug a hole and he began digging under the house, a basement. And he started cementing the basement. This is not how you'd build basements, by the way. This is like, you would not be able to do this today. One night, my grandma says, it starts pouring rain, and my grandpa's down in the basement because he's seen that if enough rain keeps coming in, the whole house is going to fall. It's going to collapse. My grandfather, all night long, was building these little, basically these stilts to keep the house up all night long. And in the morning, went to work again. My grandfather is a hero to me. And my grandfather embodied the values and the things that he believed. And here's the thing that I would challenge all of us. Those values, those things you embody, the creative ideas, the Jesus message can and should be embodied. We can embody that and live it. And when we do, that's when real change happens. Your protest becomes more than just holding a sign. You become the walking, living, breathing temple, the sign. You become the protest everywhere you go. My grandfather was an example of learning to embody the story. We embody the protest. We become the story. Sardis, the story of Sardis is actually more relevant today than ever for me. It's not just some weird political apocryphal book. It's actually a really beautiful application of how to live fully here today. Cool? Awesome. We're going to have these two come on up and do some more music.
So, in light of what we thought about today, there's a line in the chorus that says, "Even when the fight seems lost, I'll praise you. Even when it hurts like hell, I'll praise you." And that phrase, "I'll praise you," gave new meaning to me today. In light of what we've learned from Revelation, the tag, I'll praise you, is acknowledging that there's redemption, that there's reconciliation, that God is moving in the process, that when it seems like all hope is gone, that he's still at work. blood-tainted hands. Wash me in your love. Come like grace again. Even when the strength is lost, I'll praise you. Even when I have no song, I'll praise you. Even when it's hard to find the words louder than I'll sing your praise. I will only sing your praise. Take this mountain weight. Take these ocean tears. Hold me through the trial. Come like hope again. Even when the fight seems lost, I'll praise you. Even when it hurts like hell, I'll praise you. Even when it makes no sense to sing louder than I'll sing your praise. Oh, I will only sing your praise. Ooh, I will only sing your praise. I will only sing your praise. I will only sing your praise. And my heart burns only for you. You are all I want. And my soul waits only for you. And I will sing till the morning has come. Lord, my heart burns only for you. You are all I want. And my soul waits only for you. And I will sing till the miracle comes. Yeah. Ooh. I will only sing your praise. I will only sing your praise. I will only sing your praise. Even when the morning comes, I'll praise you. Even when the fight is won, I'll praise you. Even when my time on earth is done, louder than I'll sing your praise. I will only sing your praise.
You look at the slide, we didn't have a great month. It is what it is. But instead of harping on what we don't have, I decided to listen to Tony, for the first time, of course. But I decided to listen to Tony and concentrate on the things that we should be grateful for. And I am grateful for the donations that we did get. I am grateful for the people that are here, for the music that we have. And so, that's what our donations are for. And whether we're short or we're over, thank you. Thank you for all that you do, for all the donations that you give in the past and what you'll give in the future. What we're doing here is a great thing. It's a wonderful thing. It's a place where, as Tony said earlier, it's a place where we can catch our breath and we move forward into life, into the next week, next day, and so on and so forth. So if you can, put your donations in the jars, fill out the cards as well, the contact cards, and we'll keep track of everything and we'll move forward.
Give me vision to see things like you do. God, I look to you. You're where my help comes from. Give me wisdom. You know just what to do. Yeah. God, I look to you. I won't be overwhelmed. Give me vision to see things like you do. God, I look to you. You're where my help comes from. Give me wisdom. You know just what to do, and I will love you, Lord, my strength. And I will love you, Lord, my shield. And I will love you, Lord, my rock. Forever all my days, I will love you, God. Let's sing that again. And I will love you, Lord, my strength. And I will love you, Lord, my shield. And I will love you, Lord, my rock. Forever all my days, I will love you, God. Oh, I will love. And hallelujah, our God reigns. And hallelujah, our God reigns. Oh, hallelujah, our God reigns forever. to see things like you do.
I feel like you two could go on tour. You play every instrument there is. I want to try just a practice with you right now. I want you to let's try this one. Close your eyes. I want you to practice breathing in. So breathe in through your nose. Everyone try this. And breathe out through your mouth. Some of you have not breathed like that in a while. Do it again. And just breathe out. Do it one more time. As you're doing this, I want you just to think about the things you can smell, taste, touch, hear. Keep breathing, by the way. I want you to think about just the things that we take for granted every day this week. Just simple things. And I want you to say this. For these things, I am grateful. Just say it out loud. For these things, I am grateful. Breathe in, breathe out. Next thing I want you to think about, family and friends. Family, friends, community. I want you to think of just bring to mind some of those faces of the people you're most grateful for. If they're next to you, just touch them. And I want you to say this. For this, I am grateful. Say it like you mean it. For this, I am grateful. Good. Keep breathing in through your nose, out through your mouth. Next, I want you to turn your attention to you. The unique individual, blessed with imagination, the ability to communicate, to learn from the past, plan for the future, to overcome any pain you may be experiencing. I want you to breathe in, breathe out. I want you to say, for this, just pat yourself on the shoulder, chest, wherever. For this, I am grateful. For me, I am grateful. Finally, I want you to rest in the realization that life is a precious gift, that you've been born into a period of immense prosperity and life and health and culture, teachings, all of it. You are in this beautiful community today. I want you to just say this. For this, I am also grateful. God, we are so grateful for life, for the gifts that are all around us, for the ability to not give up, for the ability to reorient things, reorganize the furniture in our minds, to move when we need to move, to shape things when we need to shape them, to pick up the arrow and aim again at the target and try again. We don't want to give up. We don't want to quit. We want to keep moving forward, becoming the very best us we can possibly be. So we're thankful for that strength. We're thankful for the wisdom voices of the past that continue to share what life more abundantly looks like, and may we be the kind of people that begin walking and living it fully. For this, we are grateful. Amen. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. I hope you are able to breathe a little bit better today. Hopefully, you're going to be a little more present to the relationships around you. And if you're here to do the video with Megan, very excited about this video. Please see Megan right now. I know some of you have to leave kind of quick, but it's just almost 12. I want you to go see Megan there in the back, and she's going to take you into the back room. Almost 13. Oh, Sophia. Yes. Are they doing the birthday thing right now? Oh, okay. When you see Sophia, I want you to give her a big hug because she's not out here yet. But there's cake over there. Make sure to give Sophia a big hug and say we love you as you become a teenager. That's gonna be big. She's gonna be the big 13. So make sure to give her love and say happy birthday to her. It'll be a big deal for her. Anyways, everyone, we love you, and we'll see you next week. Everyone watching online, thank you so much for watching. And yeah, make sure if you're doing the video, see Megan in the back. We're gonna get you to the back in just a second to do the video. Awesome.